right. Welcome to another episode of Blindsided by Reality, where I break down an episode of reality TV that my co-host has not seen.
Yes.
This is Bran. He's been with us before, and he is back to discuss Fantasy Suite Week.
I am back. I learned about Fantasy Suites a couple weeks ago, and I thought I should come back and learn more about what really goes down. Can you tell me who got voted off last week?
Yes. At this moment, we're down to 3.
Okay.
We're down to Joey, the tennis pro.
Yep.
Xavier from North Carolina, the biomedical scientist.
Okay.
And Dotton, the integrative medicine consultant.
Yes.
The tall one.
Yes.
So we're down to those 3.
Tall.
Yeah.
Erin B got voted out.
Erin B got sent home after hometowns.
Yes.
And it was a very weird conversation with Charity. You're going to need to know this for this episode. But she walks him out and basically tells him, I don't know why it's you. Going into this rose ceremony, I had no idea who I was sending home. I think I might have made a mistake, but bye.
Oh, no.
And so Erin's like, okay.
That's tough.
Yeah, so that's going to come back.
Do we know who it was between, like in her mind?
No.
Okay.
She had a really great time with Xavier and Dotton's families. She loved her time with Joey, but Joey's uncle kind of told her, I think, he's like, I don't recognize this Joey. Joey is not being his true self with you. So Charity was like, oh boy.
Classic uncle.
So for a hot second there, I did think that maybe Joey might be going home. Yeah. And I was sad for him, but like maybe happy for me. So
sure.
But no,
because according to my notes, he's so cute and has a great smile.
He is so cute, and
he lives in Hawaii.
Yeah, he'd have to move to that Greenville though.
Right, of course.
Do people play tennis here?
Yeah, I think we only do pickleball.
I was gonna say I know Greenville's really big on the pickleball, but
I think that's everywhere though right now.
What the tennis scene is.
Yeah,
maybe he could switch. He could teach.
You know what? My father-in-law plays tennis, so he has at least one person that he can play with.
One client for you, Joey. Yeah, that Greenville.
There you go, Joey.
All right, so we start off in Fiji.
Fiji?
And it is beautiful, but based on everyone's hair, it looks very humid here.
Okay. Why are we in Fiji?
Just fantasy suites always take place somewhere.
Oh, got it.
Amazing. Beautiful.
Yeah. So you this fantasies. For some reason I thought this show took place at a like a mansion.
Yeah. So it starts at a mansion. And they used to film more of the season, and it wasn't until the numbers dwindled down that we would travel. Okay. Now we kind of spend 2 weeks at the mansion, and we just immediately go travel.
Got it. Okay.
Because as the show's gotten bigger, all you have to do is flash the hotel sign a couple times, and, it's like free travel.
Good to go.
And it's also funny to me because ABC does not own the mansion. People live there year-round. And they just, move
rent it out?
One wing of the house. So I think as they've worked out this deal, I think they're kind of like, all right, we'll use your house for 2 weeks, film a couple episodes.
Wow. Okay. All right. Good to know.
Yeah. But people live there, so they're pretty.
That's fun. I live in the bachelor house.
Yeah. I mean, if you've got the money for that mansion and then you're just making money on top of that by renting it out, and why not?
Doing okay.
So at this point, all 3 men have told Charity that they are falling in love with her. So she's excited to see where this could
None
go.
of them are in love yet, though.
They're
in the process.
They're in love.
Okay, they're in the process.
That's where we're starting this episode.
All right.
And so we get each guy gets a little intro at the beginning. Dotton says he's excited to be in Fiji. He's like walking the beach. He sees himself proposing to Charity. He sees them as endgame.
Oh, wow.
So
Dotton.
Joey announces that he is in love with Charity, and he cannot wait to tell her that he is in love with her. And he definitely wants to clear the air after the Uncle Joe incident.
Listen, you come home, you meet my family. I have fallen. It's happened.
Well, he said last week before the hometown date that he was in love with her.
Okay.
But then because the family situation took such an awkward turn, he did not tell her.
Oh, so now got it.
Like, I really
this is my
I thought
chance.
I was going to go home without telling her. she saved me. Like, I'm still here.
Phew.
So I need to definitely tell her this week.
Thank goodness. What better time than the fantasy suites to tell?
Yeah, you're in Fiji.
That's exactly right.
Fall in love. Xavier says that he never thought he could commit to one person for the rest of his life. He never really thought like that he was ready for marriage, but he is ready.
That's not super convincing,
right? When he's giving us a little date and he's like, "I never thought." I was like, "Okay, that's a way to word it."
To live your whole life and be like, "I don't think I'm ever going to settle down," and then suddenly be like, "I think I want to settle down." It could be the Fiji. It could be the competition.
He's one where I really like him, but I have not seen the chemistry between him and Charity. And he has been expressing a lot of doubts. Like, I don't know if I could propose. I take a proposal very seriously. I don't know if I could propose next week. All this stuff. We get a Jesse sighting, the host of our wonderful show.
Yes.
Here. And he sits down with Charity to talk about, where's your head at going into this. Charity tells him that she's definitely falling for all three men, and she might very well tell three men that she's in love with them.
That's confusing.
I've
never been in her situation. I don't know what that looks like.
I have not either, so
to
I
be
cannot
falling in love with.
I can imagine feeling those feelings and wanting to tell someone. I don't know if I would tell someone I was in love with them unless I was 100% sure I was keeping them. That's a lot to tell someone you love them and then be like, but not as much as this guy.
Yeah, that's tough.
That's hard.
What is love, though,
So I was really excited. This was definitely a better conversation than the one she had last week with Jesse in Hometowns. The one with Jesse then felt so scripted.
Okay.
It was basically Jesse was like, Charity, can you sum up your hometown dates in one sentence? And then it felt very scripted, like Jesse was reading off a key card, and I hated it.
Jesse.
So
was Jesse essential last week?
No. I'll check my rating. But I think I gave him a negative. I did.
Oh, that's
because
tough.
you only saw him. I think he came out at the rose ceremony to do the final rose thing, and it was so dumb because there's three men, and there's four men dropping down to three. Like, we get it. We see the roses.
Right.
So he gets a negative. So he had potential. This was definitely a better conversation. I feel like there was a lot we didn't see. I feel like editing just took the little snippets that they used, but it felt like he and Charity were getting along really well. Like, they were kind of vibing, and I thought I wanted to see more of that conversation.
Yeah.
I was like, break it down for us. Like, I want all this behind the scenes tea, and we didn't get any of that. So he was kind of useful there, but we don't see him again for the rest of the episode. So.
Oh, Jesse. Sweet Jesse.
So he's just getting a free trip to Fiji.
Good for him. He did that interview in Fiji.
I think so.
Yeah.
They look like they were on the beach.
Good for him.
Well, because the rest of the show is going to take place in Fiji.
Oh, okay. This is the rest of the season, so okay.
Her family will come in.
Wow.
The family will meet the final two. And then there will be, one last date, and then the finale, and that's all in Fiji.
Okay, got it.
So he needs to be there for the finale. So first up is Xavier.
Okay.
And they are going to go to a private island. They are met by a group of native Fijian people, which is what they said, and I am hoping they're right.
I don't know, man.
Fijian?
I guess so.
Fijian
is correct.
Thank you, Daniel, from off camera. And so they come out in their native garb. We dress Xavier and Charity in native garb. Charity comes out on a chariot carried by the native people.
I don't like it. I don't like it at all,
like
really. I don't think.
Xavier sees her and says, now that is my woman queen. No, he says, that is my woman king. And then he says, my queen. So, got there.
Wait, who is this again?
Xavier.
Got it.
So then they learn the ritual dances and ceremonies for a Fijian wedding, which is just a lot. It feels very romantic and intimate, and for someone that you're not sure you're marrying, it was a lot for me to watch.
Yeah. Are they having a good time, though?
They thought it was great. Charity thought it was so romantic, and she thought that she and Xavier were just getting to know each other on a deeper level. And she knows that he's had reservations, and I think the producers chose this date for him because he's had marriage reservations.
Uh-huh.
You know, so it kind of gets him
so
thinking about...
you got to plan your wedding now.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. Then, so while they're off doing their wedding ritual tutorials, we pan to Erin B.
Yes.
And Erin B is packing a bag in San Diego.
So to say, did they bring Erin B to Fiji?
Erin B is going to Fiji because he said, Charity told me that she wasn't sure she wanted to send me home. So I'm going to go fight for her. And then we see him walking through the airport on his way to Fiji.
That was so nice of the producers to let this happen because I'm here for that.
Yeah,
that's the type,
Charity is worth fighting for.
That's the type of petty that we're all here for.
So he is going to show up in Fiji.
Wow. Oh, Erin B. My guy. Oh, man.
Yeah. So we go to dinner with Xavier and Charity, and Xavier tells her that he needs to tell her something that he has been afraid to tell her. And immediately she's like, okay.
You need to tell me something you've been afraid to tell me.
His last relationship was about 2.5 years, and he was unfaithful to this woman.
Oh, no.
And yeah. And she asked if it was multiple times. And he said, well, it was only a week, but yes, it was multiple times. So that wasn't making it sound
all right, guy. Listen, it was only 24 hours.
But it was
multiple times in multiple places with one person.
And he says, but he has grown and he knows you can't do that in a marriage. Direct quote. You can't do that in a marriage. And Charity's like, yeah, but like...
yeah, but you also can't do that in a dating relationship. And yet you can do it in marriage. Won't end up good.
Yeah. So Charity, her past relationship...
is he under the impression that once you get married, like...
you just don't want
everyone everyone disappears. You literally can't.
Apparently. So then Charity, says, well, you know about my past relationships. I was cheated on. I take this very seriously. Like, we're potentially
So he is known that she's been cheated on?
That's what she says. That's a conversation we haven't seen
so
much, but somewhere.
But she didn't know that about him.
Yeah, he kept that hidden. So, yeah. So Charity is she needs to take a minute. So she kind of leaves to go gather her thoughts. And I will say Charity handled herself really well here.
Yeah.
She takes her space, she thinks about it, and then she comes back and has a very calm conversation with Xavier. Because
let's talk about this. If you're Xavier, it's not like when there's, how many does it start with? How many guys?
25.
When there's 25 guys around, you can't be like, hey, I need to tell you first things first. My last relationship I cheated on, but you're not going to make it to final 3. So I understand holding it in regards to the competition. Yeah, I understand that. But if once you know that she's been cheated on, that's tough.
Yeah, I definitely would have said something. So it's a tough. So then Charity just needs to know, how do you know
that
you're not going to do this again?
Yeah.
What have you learned from this experience? Like, you just can't do it in marriage.
Can't do it in marriage.
And so then he starts saying things like,
oh, no.
If you do end up with me, I don't ever want to be unfaithful to you. She's like, okay, but that, how do you know you're not going to be unfaithful to me? And he's just like, well, I just pay attention to myself more. I'm more introspective. So, I know not to put myself in those situations. And so they're just having, and he just basically keeps saying, I don't want to be unfaithful. And she's like, yeah, I get that, but, are you not going to be unfaithful?
Did you want to be unfaithful 2.5 years ago?
So then she has the overnight card, which says, if you choose to forego your individual rooms, use this key for the fantasy suite. That's what they all say. And so she's
who gets to decide this?
They both have to say yes.
Okay.
She has to
Does anyone ever say no?
Yeah.
When they get to the top 3? Sometimes
I can't remember specific situations, but I feel like either the lead has not given it, where she's just like, I just don't feel like I want to do this, or
has anyone ever said no and then ended up with that person?
I'd have to go back.
I feel like that's usually a telltale sign.
So she is just crying.
Did she say no?
So no.
Oh.
Before she like opens it and reads it, she's just like, I believe in you. I believe in the potential that this relationship has. I believe that you care about me. And I believe that if we decide to be together, that you will be faithful. Do you also believe that of yourself?
Ooh.
And Xavier does not have an answer. Xavier says that he needs the fantasy suite to make sure that he's 100% about Charity. And Charity says, no.
Yeah. Good for you,
like,
Charity.
That's not how this works.
What a bad answer. What a dirtbag.
And she gets up and she's like, all right, I don't want to do this with you. And she gets from the table and he just kind of sits there staring at her like he doesn't understand what's happening. And I didn't understand what was happening either, because I said, oh, Charity says no to the overnight. And as I'm writing that, Charity looks at him, still not getting up. And she goes, all right, let's go. And I was like, where are they going? And she just sent him home. She walks him to the limo.
What?
And he says, well, you can send me home. She goes, I am sending you home. And he's like, okay, I get it. And then as they hug goodbye, Xavier says, I love you, and gets in the limo.
He's like, I gotta say it. I said I was gonna say it. Does a limo with Erin B come in behind him as they're pulling out?
No.
Erin B's arrived.
Xavier goes home. And that's fine.
That's it. Xavier's out of here.
I figured he would go home. I didn't quite see him going home that way, but I do like that she knew that this wasn't good, and she...
He's gonna go home and knit.
Yeah. Yep.
Because that's something he does in my notes I have.
So yes, he's a knitter.
He's a knitter.
That's what they did on their hometown days. They went to a knitting class.
I was gonna ask if they knit. I didn't think they were actually going to.
They did. I had that reaction, and Dan made fun of me.
Well, that's cute.
But yeah, they went to a little yarn store and picked it up. It was precious. Now we have Joey.
Yeah.
And Joey's feeling really nervous because he has always
felt... Do they know that Xavier just got sent home?
No.
Okay.
They do not know. And so he's feeling really nervous because their hometown date ended on such an uncertain note.
Right.
You know, she was kind of upset and they didn't really have enough time to walk through that.
Because of Uncle.
Yeah. But the uncle like has that conversation with Charity at the end of the night, so like she and Joey don't get a chance to break it down.
But how do we feel about Uncle? Does he seem trustworthy, or just that he's there to just kind of just throw things off?
So I think that he maybe expressed some doubts, and then I think he was egged on by producers to like blow it up.
Okay, got it. But is he close to Joey?
Yeah.
Okay.
So
it's tough. Not anymore. He's not.
So Charity rolls up in an ATV, and she and Joey are gonna go like off-roading.
These dates are so funny.
Jungles of Fiji. But very quickly into the date, the ATV stalls out, and they just cannot get it working again. And Charity is very upset, and Joey's just like, "It's fine. Like, we're together, and that's all I wanted."
Oh.
The end game was supposed to be at a waterfall. And they just decide to hike to the waterfall.
Oh.
And Joey says this line, and it made my heart melt.
Oh, my.
He goes, "Anyway, I'm holding your hand. I'm not complaining."
Sweet.
She just kept apologizing for how this date wasn't what she planned. And he's like, it doesn't matter to me. Like, we're together. We're getting this time to talk and hang out. And, like, I just want to be with you.
Sweet Joey.
It was so sweet. And it made my heart just butterflies.
Yeah, me too.
They go to a waterfall. They go swimming. They kiss big ones
Whoa!
under the waterfall.
Joey be shirtless?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Obviously. And then they talk about the Uncle Joe situation.
Okay.
And
while they're still in the water?
No, I think they're out by
like yelling over the waterfall.
So
what happened with Uncle Joey?
And how Joey describes it is just that I guess he didn't know that Uncle Joe was going to show up on their date. Like, they're playing tennis for their cute little date. Uncle Joe is who taught Joey tennis, so he shows up, and they're all three playing tennis together. Wow. So Joey didn't know that Uncle Joe was going to be there, and he's like, so he explains to Charity that this whole show has been basically on your terms, or we've both been out of our comfort zones, and now I'm taking you to a place that means so much to me. He's like, so I was really nervous, and I didn't know my uncle was going to be there. I thought I had more time to, like, prep myself for you meeting my family. And so he's like, yeah, I might have been a little off in front of my family because this is new. Like,
okay. Hey, this is a good explanation.
And it was, and so they
it's a good explanation.
And I was like, yeah, that all makes sense.
Yeah.
Like,
you know what? Would you believe it? If when you come home and there's a bunch of cameras around you, maybe you're not super comfortable. Maybe you feel a little bit weird.
Yeah, your family's never been in front of
cameras. You're probably always like, man, what is my family going to say?
Your family hasn't seen you in at least 6 weeks.
Yeah.
And you're showing up with this girl that might be their daughter-in-law.
That's tough. That's a tough spot.
So they had a nice.
So his thing is Joe didn't mean that I've changed, like, in life, like, over a course of a bunch of time. It's that he came here with you and it feels weird. That's kind of his
so
thing.
Uncle Joe saw it as like, oh, Joey is lying about, like, not being his true self.
Right.
And Joey was like, it's not that I was lying. It's just that I was uncomfortable. And he's like, my natural persona is I give off this very confident energy. And so for my family to see something that wasn't that. And then that segues into a beautiful conversation at dinner where Joey dives into that a little bit further. And he's just like, I just want you to know that I am human and I have human emotions. And so while we're here on this show, everything is shiny and new and, you know, magical. But there are going to be days where if this is us at the end of the line, like, there are going to be days where I'm not happy and I'm going to be in a funk. And, like, are you going to be okay with that? Like, this isn't me 100% of the time.
Yeah.
And I thought that was, you know, that was a great conversation.
Because you're not allowed to have bad days on The Bachelor. You can't, like,
you gotta, you know, if you want to stay in the game, you have to.
You gotta put on for your city. You know what I mean?
Yeah. So he says that sometimes he gets in a funk, but he always tries to live up to being the person that everyone expects him to be, but that sometimes that's exhausting and hard to keep up that persona. And so, you know, he is just a real person who has bad days. And Charity loves this. She's like, yeah, I'm such a people pleaser, and that gets to me too. And so they just talk about how, yeah, like, getting out of this is going to be a real thing. And yeah, we're going to have good days. We're going to have bad days. So good for them.
How about
that? Then Joey tells her that he is in love with her. And she just has the biggest grin on her face. Oh. She's so excited.
Yeah.
And she tells Joey that she is in love with him too.
Oh, we're going to the fantasy suite.
She does a little confessional there where she says that her love for Joey feels eternal. And she goes, I know that's a really big word, but that's just how I feel. So,
okay.
Yeah, they go to the fantasy suite.
Great.
And they get very emotional the next morning because she's like, I don't want to leave. Like, I don't want to leave you. So she's crying, and it was very cute.
This date with Dotton better
listen,
hit home runs, or else the show's over.
Joey
has
been my front runner the whole season, and then Dotton had kind of crept up there. And after Hometowns, I thought it was Dotton 100%. She fit right in with his family. Like, they loved her. It just felt so natural. And this date with Joey and their good conversations, I was like, you know what? I don't know again. I'm back to being confused.
Just remind me real quick. So Joey is white.
Joey is white.
Dotton is not.
Yes. Correct.
Okay. All right.
Yep.
So there's that playing into it too, which does, you know, it matters when you're.
We did get a one-on-one date with Joey where Charity and Joey break down what it would be like to be in an interracial couple.
Sure. Yeah.
You know, where she kind of shares with him what a bunch of her experience is. And she's like, you know, there are going to be places that we go where it's going to be tough, where people are not going to want us to be together. So they've had some really good conversations.
All right. Okay. So they spent the night.
Yep.
They spent the night.
Just talking.
Playing
chess.
Separate beds.
Obviously.
All above board.
Yep. They definitely did not wake up in the king bed together.
No.
So,
no.
We didn't see that. Next, we've got Dotton.
Dotton.
They are going to go jet skiing. So they just have some fun playtimes on the ocean in their jet skis.
Okay.
And then they roll up to a private beach, and they have a little champagne picnic on the beach.
Okay, that sounds nice.
Yeah, it was like do a fun activity and then have some chill time. That was really great.
It's not learning what dance you're going to be doing at your wedding.
Yeah, that was
fun.
Yeah, I mean that was when I knew that it was Xavier and I saw what they were doing. There was one a couple seasons ago. The guy from my hometown made it. I think it made it to the final 3, and he was skeptical about proposing.
Yeah, so they do something to draw that out.
His date with the lead was to look at wedding rings.
Oh man, that's tough.
And like during dinner that night, he sends himself home. He's like, I'm not ready for this.
Wow.
So they know. So now they're just having fun times. They talk about the hometown date, and Charity just tells him how much she loved his family, how she felt so at home with them. And then she said that one of the most special things for her was that something we didn't see as viewers, but when she and the mom were having some one-on-one time, the mom prayed with Charity about her journey and,
Oh, that's nice.
And so Charity gets a little choked up. That is something that's very important in her relationship with her mother. And then to have that with Dotton's mother was
It's
really
very
special.
nice. It's
They're
sweet.
just bonding all over the place, and I'm very conflicted for Charity because I like both of these people.
Well, does Dotton say I love you?
And then they tell each other that they love each other.
Yeah. Is the love eternal?
She doesn't say that.
Okay.
But in the past, she has said that Dotton feels like her person.
Oh. Okay.
So I don't know.
This is tough.
It's very split.
You've made it sound like Joey's date was way better than Dotton, but is that just your...
No, I literally have a paragraph of notes for Joey, and I have 3 lines.
Is that just
Dotton.
your bias for Joey, or is that how it was actually came
not a
out?
lot happened. Like,
okay.
They talked, but it wasn't like with Joey. I feel like they had conversations that moved their relationship forward, and they had to work through the drama of last week. Like Dotton didn't have drama last week, so he just had it. Like it was just a nice date.
Okay.
And then they also spend the night not in the same bed,
right?
Separate rooms.
Got it.
Yeah.
Good for them.
So
now where's Erin B?
Oh, I'm so glad you asked, Bran.
Because he was heading to Fiji last I heard.
So nice of Erin to wait until all 3 dates were done to show up.
It's super
Such
cool.
Good planning on his part, those flights and
how it all kind of came together.
So we get this little montage of Erin being followed by a camera, running around the resort, looking for Charity, but not being able to find her. Which is just funny to me because he's being followed by staff.
Yeah,
definitely.
The camera definitely, they have walkies.
He's walking up to hotel staff saying, like, have you seen Charity? Where is Charity? And then the hotel staff is like, we cannot give out guest information.
That's so great.
And it just made me laugh because I was like, the producers 100% know where Charity is at every moment of the day. Like, so it was just a funny little bit.
Does anyone know?
Literally, he's just like, has anybody seen Charity? And it's like, I get why we're doing this, but just so then he just stumbles upon her out by the pool.
She's by herself.
She's by herself at the pool, just chilling on a little lounger.
Good for her.
And he's like, "Hey, Charity," and she looks up and just freaks out.
In a good way?
Yeah.
Oh, she's excited to see Erin B.
Excited to see Erin B.
Uh-oh.
So they hug, and he's like, "Listen, I know this is a lot for you, so if you need to take a minute, like, go do that." And she's like, "Yep, I need to go do that." So she goes and talks to her little producer friends and is just like, "What is he doing here? I sent him home. I never thought I'd see him again, but I'm not mad he's here."
Oh, boy.
And so she is obviously confused because she thought she was making a tough decision between 2 men, and now
Erin B is in the mix again.
Here fighting for her. So they talk, and he is like, "Yeah, the way we left things, you told me you weren't sure if I was going home. Like, you weren't sure that it was me. You felt like you made a mistake, and so I'm here to fight for you.
Boy.
Do you still think you made a mistake?"
Should we handle this in the fantasy suite?
There's an unused fantasy suite. I sent Xavier home. So She says that she's happy to see him, that she has thought about that moment every day since he left.
Okay.
And so he basically asks if he can come back. And she's like, I need to think about it. And then the show ends.
Oh, that's it? Oh, that's tough.
But we do get clips from the next 2 weeks.
Okay.
So next week is Men Tell All. It's all the men will come together in a room and rehash all the drama.
Oh.
So that'll be super fun for everybody involved.
But then we don't find out anything new?
No, we don't find anything.
It's like a clip show.
Yeah, they're just going to rehash drama, maybe share some bloopers. I don't know.
That's dumb.
Yeah, it's one of my least favorite episodes of every season.
They do it every season.
There's always a Women Tell All or a Men Tell All.
And then the next episode is the finale?
It will be a finale.
Wow.
We do get clips of the men discussing, meeting the family and picking out rings and all that stuff. And Erin is there in a suit. So while this episode ended on a cliffhanger, I am going to assume she lets it come back.
Wow.
Because I don't know why he'd be in a little confessional in a suit.
He's hosting the show now.
You know what? If that's true, I saw him more than I've seen Jesse in the last 2 episodes.
Fair.
So he's doing more work than Jesse right now.
Oh, man. Well, I want to come back for the finale. I want to find out what happens.
Yeah, I was thinking I would have all 3, you, Dan,
and
Brian,
wow. A Men Tell All.
We'll have our own Men Tell All.
Are we going to do one next week?
Yeah.
Can you just tell us what the men told us?
Yeah.
Okay. That's fine.
If somebody wants to hear about all the drama, they can come on that.
I'm here for the finale. That's all I know. Okay. All right.
Yeah, so we'll see.
Right now, I think I'm Team Joe. I think I'm Team Joey, just based off of what I've heard. But I'm really anybody but Erin B. I don't like that guy.
Yeah, though at this point when she kept telling him, like, I'm so happy to see you, I'm not mad you're here, all this stuff, I was like, maybe I'm just Team Erin B at this point. Like, I was like,
wow.
Like, if she keeps taking him back, I don't know. Like, he's not for me, but
okay,
he could be for her. Yeah, I was very strongly Team Dotton for the last couple weeks, and based on what I saw last night, I still think she could go either way, but Joey crept back up.
All right,
to the top spot. So,
all right, we'll find out what happens
in 2 weeks.